By the way, my name is Phil Perlman. I founded the Pearl Institute. I've been in finance for a number of years, and I did not take great care of myself. I got myself healthy, and I noticed that there were a number of advisors, a number of very successful people who were doing incredibly well financially, but not taking great care of themselves. So that's the gap that I'm filling. And today I'm going to talk about health and performance to make it specific for the financial advisor community. So I wanted to start, thriving advisor, get healthy, perform better. That's my little saying there. So last week on his newsletter, Josh was writing about this festival, and he wrote, "Everyone is here for the same reason, to become a better advisor for their clients and a better business owner for their employees." That's why we're also here to have a good time and to socialize and to network, but really to get better at what we do. And so there are presentations on your tech stack, and there's presentations on practice management, and there's presentations on telling your story and marketing and social marketing. But there's really not a lot about this crossroads between performance and our health. And when I use the term health, I'm using it in a very general way. We could talk about metabolic health or whatever, but I'm just saying how we feel and how our body is performing and how our body is functioning in a more general sense. So I want to talk about how we can be better advisors, to Josh's point, better business owners for our employees, and to adopt something that is novel, that nobody else or not that many other people are really talking about it, although some people are starting to. So I love that trend. And so I'd like to start here, just a summary. The healthier you get, the better you perform, run your business better, serve your clients better, balance life better, and enjoy all of it more. That's really the gist of everything that I'm going to be saying. And okay, so I want to talk about another thing that's specific to advisors before I really get going. I call this Superman syndrome. There was a scene in the first and I think best Superman movie with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, where Superman and Lois Lane meet. And she is hanging from a helicopter that is hanging from a skyscraper, and she lets go and falls, and Superman comes in and swoops in and grabs her and saves her, and he says, "Don't worry, ma'am, I've got you." To which she replies, "You've got me, who's got you?" And that, to me, is when I think about advisors, when I think in general, even more general, about helper people, advisors, teachers, trainers and coaches. Who's got them? They're so busy taking care of everybody else. I had one client that said to me, "I'm helpful to my clients to a fault." And I'm seeing this as a theme over and over again with the people that I work with. I don't only work with advisors, but also entrepreneurs and so forth. And I'm seeing it with almost everybody, not everybody, but almost. They're helping other people to a fault, and they forget about taking care of themselves. And so just very briefly, I'd like to point out that there are things that we have no control over. I think this was the COVID crash, if I'm not mistaken, where we have no control over price behavior, right? I mean, 2022 is another example. That year sucked, I'm sure, for most of you here. It was not a good thing. It was stressful. Our own accounts were at risk. Clients, they stay calm to a degree. They listen to what we tell them to a degree, and then they begin to panic. So you're probably getting calls. We can't control that, right? But then there are things we can control. And how we take care of our own self, how we take care of our body, mind, spirit, physicians call it metabolic health. We have significant amount of control over that. And so I've covered some of this before, but I will briefly state, why does this matter? Why does it even matter to the advisor community? Well, this is a very stressful industry, as I just pointed out. And so how you cope, how you adapt to stress makes a huge difference. And one of the things I'm going to talk about in a little while is stress tolerance and metabolic health. Performance matters, right? You're not doing what you do in a vacuum, right? To a certain degree, your performance, or to a great degree, your performance matters. And if you underperform, if you're not getting back to people, if you're not minding the store and minding portfolios and minding the business of it and the practice management aspect of it, you'll fall behind. You can fake it for a little while, but you can't fake it forever. How we are perceived matters. This is kind of a touchy subject, but it's just fact of life. The impression that we make matters. We are front-facing. We meet with clients. We meet with prospects who are going to be clients. And the impression that we make is incredibly important, incredibly important. And as a fringe benefit, this is never a fringe benefit, except for when I'm talking specifically about performance and health. This is usually the central theme, and that is we all want to live well. We all want to be healthy. We all want to stay healthy for a very long time. We all want to increase the probability that we're healthy and happy and thriving for as long as possible. Anybody disagree with me on that? No, of course not. It's just a human thing. Okay, most important thing in the world. I'm going to go by that one because I'm just feeling the time. It's our health, okay? I would make a big argument, be happy to have a debate with anybody who wants to come up with something else and say, hey, you know, my bank account is the most important thing in the world or whatever else. If we have our health, we can do everything else. We can work hard and make a lot of money. We could be there for our families. We can be there for our kids and be role models for our kids naturally without having to wag fingers at them. Okay, so what is the relationship between health and performance? Okay, and I'm going to now go over multiple areas. And the reason that categorical models are not great. When we break things down into categories, especially of complex issues, they never fit perfectly well. So these categories are not perfect. But the reason I'm breaking them down into categories is because I want to represent the globality of this, is how much your health affects everything you do, not just one aspect, not just the stress tolerance. So I break it down into 4 categories. Let's see if I can remember where I'm going. Cognitive, how we think and how our brain performs. Emotional, how we feel and how we regulate our emotions. Our behaviors, the things that we do and the things that we don't do, things that we abstain from. And also social, how we interact with others and the impressions that we make, the confidence that we have. And, by the way, I include in that how we interact with ourselves. I include that as a social component. It's not perfect. I could have had a 5th one called self, but I just kind of smushed it into the social. So let's talk with improved behavioral performance. And, you know, I just want to stop for a moment and reflect on why I'm doing this right now. Why am I even here, okay? And the reason that I'm here is because if there's one person in this audience today, by the way, let me just stop and take a picture of the audience because it's awesome. It's great to see everybody, and the backdrop is really cool. I'm going to send that to my wife, so thank you for bearing with me for a moment. So if there's one person in here today that goes, wow, you know, this was like the rattle that I needed. This was the kick, you know, like the Buddha would say, like, you know, I kicked you. This is the kick that you need. And you get yourself healthy as a result of this, and you see, you have your own positive reinforcement that you see that you're getting better and better at what you do, and you're happier in your life. I won. I won today. It was worth me coming out here. It was worth me doing this presentation. If 2 of you were positively affected, it's the daily double, and if 3, it's the trifecta. Okay, improved behavioral performance. Let's talk about some of the ways that we perform better when we are healthy, directly performing our job as advisors or running an advisory or whatever we're doing. We have more energy, right? I'm healthy, and I'm a little too energetic. I could almost, fall off the stage. I'm so hyped up. Haven't even had much caffeine today. We have a lot of energy. We hop out of bed in the morning. We could go the full day. Stamina at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. We have a new prospective client. We've been busy all day. We have that last bit of energy to get us over the finish line of a day. We know that. Control, behavioral control. We actually gain behavioral control as we get healthier. Flexibility. We are able to switch lanes more easily. We're able to, do one of these garland poses and stay down here all day. And when I talk about physical flexibility, I'm really talking metaphorically about life flexibility and being able to change gears. Maybe you have a client and all of a sudden they bring something up they'd never told you before. Your ability to switch gears and go to a different place, like on a snap, is improved by your increasing metabolic health, okay? Oh, and by the way, as an aside, one more aside, the beginning of this journey is the most valuable part. So if there's anybody out there who's been like contemplating this and thinking about it and like, yeah, it's really time that I do something, that first third, like you don't have to be Kipchoge running marathons in the Olympics or whatever. You just start getting healthy and you make the largest gains in the first third of that journey. Huge thing to remember because you don't have to get all fancy about it. Flexibility, balance, strength, our ability to follow through, precision, our ability to control our behavioral impulses. Wow, that time went so fast. And resilience, which is one that covers all of these categories, but I only put it in the first one because it was the best place to put it because I'm going to talk about it the rest of the way. Okay, the next one is improved cognitive performance. Executive functioning is really just a fancy term for the big decisions that we make, the planning that we do, organizing things. It's like the frontal part of your brain, the top biggest part of your brain. That's executive functioning. We know for a fact by research that it is improved via improved metabolic health. And again, that first third of the journey. Our decision making is improved. And our ability to focus and concentrate for an extended period of time. As you're noticing, I'm going on these little excursions. Oh, let me mention this over here while I'm talking, or let me mention this over here while I'm talking. Well, I have ADHD coming out of my ears. And yet, I'm able to do this presentation today because, in part because I'm flexible and feeling good, and I have that brain capacity to do it. Okay, so focus and concentration is a huge one, especially with me personally. And in my past life, I had none of that. It was amazing I got by at all. And improved social performance. I saved this one for last in the 4 categories because it has a real special, important place in terms of really self-functioning and how we interact with the world, how we see people and how we see ourselves and how other people see us, right? So when we get healthy, our self-confidence increases, right? We look in the mirror and we feel like we look bad. I'm just being straight. Maybe this isn't like totally correct for me to say or totally proper, but it's just a fact. We're humans. When we feel good and when we look good, we see ourselves and we begin to see ourselves over time in a different way, okay? Our ability, and related to that, our ability to think, to believe that what we do will make a difference. Hey, I can do something about this. That's agency. I can go out there and get that client, or I can go out there and do something that I need to do. I could go out there and stand up in front of a bunch of people and talk for 20 minutes like no problem. Okay, a few more minutes left. How people see you, right? So I talked about that. And also social perceptions. There's research that suggests that the healthier that we get, the more we're able to read how other people are looking at us. So that's a social perception thing. Like if you're able to read cues out in the public, it's social perception. I hadn't mentioned emotional performance yet. What was I? Social. Oh, the last one is emotional, stress tolerance, keeping your cool. Equanimity is like the fancy word that I love to use for staying calm in stressful situations. 2022 was a perfect example of that. Even last year, I think we had from July to October, all of a sudden, everybody was bullish up until, July 17th. JC, am I off there? I'm pretty close. Market went south, everybody's a bear by October, right? And so our ability to keep cool, emotional performance improves when we are healthy, stronger. Our mood improves, and that's more of a fringe benefit. We're just happier people. We get healthy, we get happy. 2 minutes. Okay, our patience, our ability to wait something out, our ability, and that goes with the calmness. And I put agency twice because it is a social function and an emotional function. So I was like, okay, 2 buckets. Maybe I'll talk about it 2 times. But our capacity to believe in what we're doing is really everything. Anything that we go out in the world and we're on our own and we eat what we kill, is that the expression? We do that, and if we don't believe in ourselves, we don't have a chance. Maybe we could fake it 1 time, maybe we could fake it 2 times. Okay, 1 minute, where to begin? Okay, and the good news is that I make this really stupid. I make it stupid simple. I'm not really gonna get to the false paradox here. This idea when you are spending so much effort taking care of yourself, you're losing time over here. That's a paradox. Really, take care of yourself, you get more time over here because you have more energy. You wake up earlier, you're ready to go. You're more focused, and so you get more done in the time allotted. So that's a false paradox. Flipping priorities, okay, I love that one, not gonna get to it. There's 4 very simple elements of good health. I'm not gonna talk today about your mitochondria. I'm not gonna talk about VO2 max. We were talking about that earlier. I'm not gonna talk about fancy amino acids. All of that stuff is just guru mishmash talk that 98% of us have no interest in. Some people do. If you're an elite performance, if you're like Rath over here, and you're like operating at a very high level of performance, yes, maybe some of those issues are really important to you. But if you're not, it really comes down to, it's so crazy how stupid simple it is, moving your body every day, taking a walk if you are not moving, and then slowly building up, eating real food. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but anything that comes in a box or a bag is usually not good. Resting your body and listening to it. We become so sort of hyper-technological that we don't really listen to our bodies. We listen to our watches, and our watches tell us we're tired, but we're like, hey, I'm not tired. So listening to our bodies and resting, and then love and relationships. This is one that the gurus aren't talking about at all, and it's basically just knowing who your people are, getting with them, and knowing they're your people, loving them, and also allowing yourself to be loved. So I'm a minute over, and I think that's all I have. Oh, really, really quickly, fringe benefits of this. And that is that you increase your probability of living longer and staying healthy longer. Your personal life improves because you have more energy to put into other people. You become a role model instead of a finger wagger. In other words, your kids see you taking good care of themselves, and they prioritize that. And you don't have to tell them to do things that you're not doing and wag your finger, and you enjoy life more. I'll be around. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm so humbled to be here and grateful. And I'll be around if anybody would like to talk or has any other questions. Thank you again.